What's going on, Guardians? TBL here, coming back at you guys fresh right off of the finish of the first of Bungie's series of DLC live streams for the Curse of Osiris. We're going to be having 3 of those, and they just finished up the very first one, showing us the worlds we're going to be exploring and what exactly we're going to be doing when the Curse of Osiris goes live in just a few weeks. The Curse of Osiris takes place just a few months after the Red War, and it's going to focus a lot on the repercussions of the Traveler awakening and our defeat of Gaul. When the Traveler woke up and sent out that big burst of light throughout our solar system, throughout our galaxy, possibly throughout our universe, it woke up a lot of other things, and it seems to have been something that the Vex were planning on and hoping for. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to be going on there. We also got some voice actor confirmations. Osiris is going to be voiced by veteran actor Oded Fehr. You might remember him from movies like The Mummy, Resident Evil, all kinds of other things. And of course, Marina Baccarin is going to be voicing Osiris's ghost, Sagira. And yeah, she seems like she's going to be a bit of a firebrand all on her own. Looks like she might be how exactly the story starts. We're probably going to find her ghost out on Mercury, and things are going to move on from there. And speaking of Mercury, that's going to be our new big world space. It's going to be our new social space, as well as the new patrol zone that we're going to be going through. Christine mentions that Mercury used to be a lush sort of garden world before the Vex moved in and basically mechanized everything. And that's going to have a very important aspect in the story and in kind of the exploration we're going to be doing around Mercury. We're going to have our patrols, our lost sectors, all of that stuff there, as well as a brand new activity called the Infinite Forest. It is important to note that it is not going to be procedurally generated content. Bungie referred to it as a lovingly handcrafted content, but it's going to be different every time you go in there. Starting up this activity will basically teleport you into the core of Mercury, underneath the planet's surface, where you'll be exploring different timelines of the planet. The distant past, where Mercury was a lush jungle, the present, and the dark future, where the Vex have completed their reshaping of the universe. There's no organic life, and literally everything you find is probably going to be hostile to you. And these different timelines are even going to affect some of the social spaces, like the lighthouse is going to be different in the far past, and it's going to be very different in the far future from how it is in the present, where it's a social space where you can go for your vendors and whatnot. And speaking of vendors, old Brother Vance is gonna be returning. That's right, he's made his way out of the reef, back to the lighthouse, where he will be your new social space vendor. He'll basically be taking up the same sort of role that characters like Devrim Kay and of course Failsafe on Nessus do. And yes, this being Destiny 2, you'll still use tokens to get gear from Brother Vance, just the same as any other vendor. After that, they talked a bit about the new level and power level cap. The new EXP level cap is going to be pushed from 20 to 25 with a max power level of 330 or 335 with mods. Thankfully, there's going to be plenty of new weapons and armor for you to get your hands on from the activities that are going to be introduced in the Curse of Osiris, which, by the way, many of which will have a very heavy Egyptian theme. You'll notice that throughout the trailer and throughout all of the gameplay we got to see today. Just a lot of the gear has that sort of theme on it, and I think it looks kind of cool. And speaking of gear, after you complete the campaign, you're going to have a lot of things to do in this DLC. Once you've completed the campaign, back in the lighthouse in the present version of Mercury, you'll have an optional activity tracker and a special glyph wall. That's going to tie into some unique gear that you'll only be able to find on Mercury. Each of those glyphs represents a weapon that you can forge by completing quests. And it's probably going to serve more like some of those world quests that you get after you've beaten the Red War in the baseline of Destiny 2, and then you get those, Blue Crown quests popping up over the planets that can reward you with specific stuff like the Mana War or even some of the exotic weapons. Still, I think it's a really cool system. It's a really great aesthetic way to show that off with this crazy glyph wall and the big forge that's next to it that you'll use to build these guns. Can't wait to learn more about that. After that, we got to take a step outside of the lighthouse and look at the greater world space of Mercury, where we'll have brand new adventures, patrols, public events, and more to complete, including what Deej referred to as the largest public event in Destiny history. Maybe it's going to be like a public event where you have to jump between timelines or something like that. Either way, it seems pretty cool, and we'll be learning more about it next week. We also got the note that lost sectors will be available on Mercury, but they won't be marked on your map until you complete the campaign. One of the things I was most hyped for when watching this stream is, of course, the return of heroic strikes. They went ahead and showed that we're going to be getting those big strike playlists with the modifiers, and hopefully, sometime soon, some strike-specific loot coming back with the Curse of Osiris. After that, we were introduced to Brendan Thorne and Bungie senior designer Stuart Munsky to talk about the raid. They went on to talk about what's going to be called Raid Lairs, and the new raid activity being called the Eater of Worlds. It's going to feature overhauls like completely new and separate encounters, as well as a completely new final boss. So it's not like a revamp of some of the content that's already available in the Leviathan. They're going to be creating new sections, new bosses, and it's going to have its own unique new weapons and armor. Although they did mention that it's going to be a little bit shorter than the normal Leviathan raid, but it's going to be just as challenging and, according to Bungie, just as fun. And things are apparently not stopping there, because if you looked at the screen, we had a node for another new section of the Leviathan raid that Deej went ahead and confirmed we will be getting sometime in the spring. So the Leviathan will be getting 2 raid subsections called Raid Lairs. The first one that's coming is going to be called the Eater of Worlds, and it's going to be dropping with the Curse of Osiris, and the next second raid section will be coming sometime during the spring, very likely when the DLC pack for spring 2018 comes out. So it's interesting, the Leviathan is basically kind of going to be 3 raids in one, with the Eater of Worlds, the normal Leviathan raid itself, and then whatever this third raid section, this third raid layer is going to be. And yes, all of these are going to have completely unique loot, so the stuff that you get in the Eater of Worlds is going to be different from what you get in the normal Leviathan. And of course, the challenges are different. It's going to be different sectors and whatnot, so it's not going to be baths and the pleasure gardens and the gauntlet and all that. It's going to be completely new challenges, a completely new final boss, new weapons, and new armor. So I can't be too salty about it. At least we're getting new guns and whatnot. And of course, they also mentioned that all of these in-game activities are going to have their power levels raised up to 300, including the original Leviathan raid. So if you're looking to grind things out, you'll still be able to run that content. And of course, finally, the last thing we learned was, well, there's an Eververse Milestone. We're not exactly sure what the Eververse Milestone is asking you to do, but it definitely showed up among Deej's list of milestones. You can see the Eververse symbol sitting there. Maybe it's going to be something like you go complete a strike, or you go complete some patrol events or whatnot, and you get maybe a pack of 3 bright engrams. Who knows? We'll see, but there was just no way I could let this thing end without bringing up the fact that we probably have an Eververse Milestone coming sometime in D2. But alright, Guardians, that is pretty much it for your wrap-up of the Curse of Osiris Bungie Stream 1. I tried to hit as many things as I could remember from this. I gotta go back and watch it again and see if there's anything I missed. But overall, I thought it was a pretty interesting stream, contained a bit more information than I thought it was going to have, and I can't wait to see what Bungie's going to be doing next week. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Be sure to leave me yours down in the comment section below. Are you psyched for the Curse of Osiris? Do you wish we were going to be getting a Vex raid? Be sure to let me know. But that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.